Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the podcast. We're back here at Chico Bocello, our home away from home, and our guest today is an old friend, although an old young friend, and a dear friend of mine, Tanya Chaney. Good morning. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Jamie. Thanks for having me.
How's everything going? It's been a minute since we ran into each other, but
we
wow.
did. Yeah.
Up until like a week or so ago, I probably hadn't seen you since before COVID.
Yeah, COVID put a damper on a lot of things.
Yes,
Kept
it
everybody
did.
inside.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah,
it did.
just getting back out.
How's everything going? Tell me. You've been like just give me a little bit of Tanya. What have you been up to?
Well, since COVID, a lot has happened. Dealt with some health issues. Had some surgeries. Came out of that pretty well. And
I saw that. So
Yeah.
how did was that something? Did you have something that gave you an idea something was wrong, or was this something that caught you off guard?
No, so 2016, the fall of 2016, I
Okay.
developed a twitch in my eye.
Okay.
Nobody could tell me what was happening. It progressed over time. Every doctor I went to, doctor, dentist, chiropractor, other massage therapist, neurologist, nobody could tell me what was wrong.
Really?
And it continued to progress. My face started to twitch, my mouth twitched, my neck twitched. Conveniently, that all happened during COVID, so I got to wear a mask. So it
There
was
you go.
covered. But now
Right.
COVID's over, it's time to go back into the real world. And it was just, I didn't know it at the time, but it was debilitating me personally. So I started to research it on my own, and I became my own advocate. And I learned that I had a hemifacial spasm, which I asked a friend who's a nurse anesthetist. I said, what do I even do with this? I think this is what I have. And she said, you have to go see a neurosurgeon. So
Wow.
I landed in the neurosurgeon's office. I saw the PA. I said, I have a hemifacial spasm. And he said, do you? So he did some testing and he said, well, you have to do the medical testing. And I said, I'm aware. That's kind of why I'm here. I can't order those things for myself.
Right.
So I went on and had the testing. I met with the surgeon 2 weeks later. Surgeon walked in and he said, you're the one that diagnosed yourself. And I said, I am. And he said, good job. You totally figured it out. You nailed it. This is exactly what you have. And you need surgery. And I said, I know. So I self-educated, self-advocate, wouldn't take no for an answer, found it for myself.
You have to do that.
Have to do that. The surgeon said, we can have brain surgery. I had to have brain surgery.
And that's scary to
Just
hear
the
something
word
like
brain
that.
surgery is
Yeah,
frightening.
absolutely.
Right. So he said, we can get you in tomorrow. And I said, that's a little fast. Like, let's talk about this.
That's something you have to process.
Well, yeah. And so that was in the beginning of October 2021.
Okay.
So we planned to do it in January because I knew I would be out for 6 weeks. The nature of my work is pretty physical. So he
Sure.
suggested I take 6 weeks out to let my little brain heal up. And we planned it for the middle of January. And I was back to work by the end of February.
Really? Cool.
Best thing I've ever done. Who can say having brain surgery is the best
It's the
thing?
best thing you've ever done.
It was the best thing I've ever done for myself.
God, I appreciate you sharing that because I saw you put a picture on social media of the scar and everything, and I thought, oh my God, what happened? But I knew something obviously, but I didn't realize that. And I thought all that time you were just winking at me. I didn't even know. Now I might be a little disappointed in it, but so no, that's wonderful, and I mean I'm so happy that you're healthy and everything. You've got and listen, you're a busy young lady. I mean you always were, even back when we met, probably I mean it has to be 10, 12 years ago now at least that.
Yeah.
And we did a lot of things together down in the valley, back in the day, and I've always been amazed by the energy that you've had, that you've put into each and everything. You're not a halfway person. Right. So I mean, when you do something, you go all in. And now you're a very successful entrepreneur. Okay, Chaney's Natural. Tell us a little bit about your salon, what you do.
Okay, so as you know, I'm a massage therapist. I've been doing massage therapy for 22 years. Opened a salon back in 2006 in Charleroi, continued to develop it, moved to Monongahela, another fantastic move for me professionally. Opened the salon there, added nails, hair, tanning, detox. We do body contouring. We do so much stuff, and I love being a massage therapist. I love helping people. I love building the connection with people.
Right.
I love that I employ other women in my community. I bring in these women who are licensed and trained professionals, and they get to live their livelihood. They get to come to work and
That's very cool.
love what they do, and they help people feel better too. Doing hair and doing nails, and it all seems a little superficial, but it really does help people on a whole different level.
I don't think it's superficial at all. I mean, that's probably the first gut reaction to something like that, to hair and nails. But I've seen what that does for somebody's self-esteem and self-worth.
Absolutely.
It doesn't take much. And honestly, if there's something that makes someone smile, makes them feel better about themselves, why not do it? It's a good thing.
Yeah.
Right? That's very cool.
So part of our tagline is look good, feel better, right? Because we do both there.
There you go.
So
right.
we try to help people on all levels.
It's a holistic approach. I think that's fantastic. And I didn't know, I feel, I'm almost embarrassed to say this. I did not know that you were doing the hair and the nails things, because I associate you with massage therapy.
Absolutely.
That's what I've always known you to be doing. So so your business has evolved over that period of time.
Absolutely. And continues.
Tremendously.
Yeah.
Because you have a nice vision. So you always told me from the first time I met you almost that you were your plan was to retire before you were 50 years old.
Yeah.
Is that still your plan?
Absolutely. I'm trying. So I love running the salon. Being self-employed is amazing and challenging all at the same time. Every day it's a different challenge, right? So I started to think about my retirement. And you can't fund retirement on no retirement plan. So I had to pivot and diversify a little bit. So I started to look into real estate investment, and I started to do some of that. So that's a second line of business, and you'll love this. The property company is called Max Properties, after my son. Yes.
We'll get into Max. That's a whole conversation about Max. Max is the greatest. We'll talk about that in a little bit.
Yeah. So in building the Max Properties, I bought some investment properties. I manage them. Hopefully that'll get me through my retirement. It's something I can hand off to Max if he's so inclined.
Nice.
To take that over or cash it in, however that works out.
Nice. Very good. Very good. But how's the castle going?
The castle.
Talk about the castle, because I remember you called me when you were on your way over to Washington to make that, to do that whole deal.
Right.
And that was preordained. You were supposed to buy that place.
It's all mindset, right? Like I feel like I manifested it. So let's go backwards a couple of years. I think it was 2011. I found out about this castle in New Eagle, and I thought, well, that's ridiculous. This town is way too small for a castle. And I found it, and it was for sale. And my cousin and I went and we looked at it. And I took a picture standing in front of the big tower. And I posted it on Facebook. It was October 2011. And it said, standing in front of my future home. I knew somehow, some way, I would have this property.
Right.
It was for sale for $350,000. And at the time I was like, there's no way I can do this, but it's meant to be. I'm going to have this someday. Sure. So fast forward to 2017, I was teaching a yoga class, and I had come out and I had all these notifications on Facebook. And I thought, what in the world has happened? So I start looking through the notifications, and it turns out the county tax sale was the very next day. And the castle was going up for tax sale. So having never done this, on the spot, on the fly, I had to figure out how to buy a tax property the next day. So I called everybody I knew that would know anything about that sort of thing. I'm like, we need to get this done. So I did all of my due diligence, as much as you can do in 22 hours. And I went down to the county building the next day and bought the castle that is now where I live. I live in there's a small house in front of the castle. So when I bought it, it was an acre of property, an abandoned house, which had been empty for 6 years, and the castle, which had never been lived in. So it was a challenge, right? So never having even really seen the inside of that house, that was going to be my new home. And I had to figure out, like, just cross your fingers and hope that it wasn't destroyed on the inside. Yeah. And we bought the house and started cleaning it up, and Mike did
a lot of faith in that. I mean,
so much, all of the faith. And I was like, this has to work. If this doesn't work, I don't have a backup plan, right? So Mike got to work on the outside, taming the property. I got to work on the inside, pulling down decades of wallpaper and carpet. So much. But we stripped the house down. It's a beautiful little 1951 Cape Cod that we live in, and then the castle behind. So the castle is an amazing backdrop. It's really just a very pretty shed at this point. It's a very pretty shed. But we've done lots of events there. We've done weddings. The kids come and take prom pictures and dance pictures, and it's kind of awesome, and I love it.
A couple little concerts.
We've done concerts. We've done graduation parties. We've done all of that. But this year is the year I've decided to shut down because we have to fix it. It's completely been done in by water damage. So
Yeah.
working on foundation and roof and structural issues and just pulling it all together, really. I have
Sure.
to shut the whole show down
Yeah.
to get it together.
Right.
So
Right.
I've turned away probably 30 events this year, which is just,
That
it's
has to
killing
hurt.
me.
Yeah, that has to hurt.
But I
Yeah.
want to get it done so that I can have better events, right? I have to get the inside done because nobody has ever been on the inside.
Sure.
So now we're tearing it apart and making it better. So
Well, that's excellent. And,
Yeah.
you know, there are so very few event venues down in that part of the state,
Right.
you know, in southwestern PA. And you mentioned Mike, your husband, Mike, you
Mhm.
know, and that has to help because Mike's a pretty talented dude. I mean, he can do a lot of
Yeah.
different things. You
yeah,
know?
he's pretty handy. So he does
Yeah.
maintenance work and he's trained HVAC. So he, when we were renovating the house, the Cape Cod, new furnace, new air conditioner, new hot water tank, new plumbing. I mean, we weren't living there. So now is
Yeah.
the time to do it. We had to dig up the sewer line. Oh, so much work. And he
Yeah.
was able to do most of it. The only thing
Yeah.
we did not do ourselves was drywall because that will cause divorce. Drywall, just finishing, doing drywall is like a whole different ballgame.
Yeah, that's a whole different animal.
Sub that out.
Yes, that's interesting. That is so cool because you just take on things. Like I said, you dive in.
Oh, I'm
You
a
don't-
jumper.
Yeah, you jump in with both feet.
Hmm.
That is
Figure
so
it out on the
cool.
way down.
Yeah,
And if I need help, I call for it.
but at least you know when to make the call,
Mhm.
right? You don't go
Oh.
too far and then
Awesome.
hey, you got to come and fix stuff. You know, it's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I know I can't do this. Like I need help here.
Yeah.
That
That's
is
where
so cool.
that's where we're at with the castle. I had to call in reinforcements.
Well,
That's a
they're
big project.
There's nothing wrong with that. But and you've got a nice tribe. You've got good people that you can reach into, and you know, I've tried to do a few things. I'm lucky because I have Terry's my mic, right? Terry's very talented. She's very handy. She can do like literally anything. You know, she's got tools, power saws, all these different things that I'm not allowed to touch because they're sharp, right? So I don't even go near them. I can transport them from here to there.
Right, you can carry
But
them up.
yeah, it's such a benefit to be able to do that. You know, but what a project you took on. I mean,
Yeah.
that's just amazing.
Well, and I love home renovation. I did a lot of the work myself. I did a lot of the flooring and the tile and the backsplash and all the painting, and I do a lot of it myself.
Cool.
You know, here's the agreement that we have. He fixes it and makes it work, and I make it pretty.
Okay, well, that's good. That's
So
a good
anything that you
partnership.
see, I pretty much handle that, and all the stuff that makes it work is pretty much Mike's job.
That's pretty much every television show on HGTV, right? You have to
Yeah.
you have to have that yin and yang, right?
Yeah, you have
You know,
to.
somebody that has that design ability and that vision, and somebody that can actually build it and make it work.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, we've done the same thing at the salon. We've done the same thing at another property. I envision it and then I say, okay, this is kind of what I want to do.
You ought to document the effort on the castle. That would be very cool.
Wouldn't it be amazing?
Nick, I know a guy.
You know a guy?
I know a guy.
His name might be Nick.
And he lives in Monongahela. He lives right down the street. So yeah, we might. But that would be a cool project to kind of just document that process as you go through it. You know, once you get there where you want to be able to look back on that and just have that that visual. That would be very cool.
I've been doing a lot of photo documentation. That's the easiest way to do it is snapping pictures every time the contractor leaves at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But in the very early days, we tried getting a TV show. I tried doing a lot of that kind of stuff, but getting a dilapidated castle on HGTV is it's a tall order.
We can put it. I have a YouTube channel. We can put it on there. He's ignoring me. He ignores me. Listen, this is one thing when I was telling you about the show, the dynamic of the show. Melissa and Kelly and everybody are all in. This one just totally ignores me.
Selective
he just
listening.
He goes about his business. It's just, he could care less. Yeah. So Alex listens to me. He's
What?
yeah. See. But no, I think that would be a very cool effort. So on top of all these things, which basically really would take two of you to accomplish, you also have Max.
I do.
So tell me about Max, because you're a mom, over and above all of those things.
Through every project, I'm still a mom, right?
And he's with you. He's
been with me from the time he was born. Yeah.
Yeah. You just throw him over the shoulder and take him with you.
Here we go. Yeah. He was born, and a month later, I was back doing my thing and taking him to networking meetings and pulling him by the hand and carrying him in the carrier, and and I think because he had that upbringing, he's so well adjusted, right?
Yeah,
I can leave him in any space and I know he'll be fine.
Sure.
He talks to adults, he talks to kids.
That is so cool.
He's just very well versed.
Max and I had several meetings within a meeting.
Absolutely,
When we were together, he always, even for, I mentioned to you the other day, a memory I have of you guys. It was a meeting at Starbucks, and Max was with you, and I was there, and he just came over, and we played chess. We did all of these things, and he beat me soundly. It was a little bit embarrassing, but he's been like a little adult from the time he was 3. When
he was 2, I had a woman say to me, she had spent some time with him during the day, and we were all hanging out, and she said to me, "He's an old soul." And I stopped and I thought, there might be something to that. He knows more than a child his age should know, I think, intellectually. He's very smart, and he's very charismatic, perhaps. I just think
that's all good. Those are all good.
I just think he's very adaptable. He can kind of fit into any circumstance.
And what a skill for today's world.
Yes.
What a skill for a young man. He's what, 14 now?
14.
14. I mean, that's something that really can't be taught. It has to be learned. It can't be taught, but it has to be learned.
Yeah.
And you get that. And that's exposing him to those types of things early on was what a great idea. So sometimes you do that out of necessity.
I was just going to say it was more necessity than idea, but I think it worked out for him.
But it did work out. So you talked about networking, and you do a lot of networking. You've always been a great networker. We've done a lot of that together. And now where we reconnected is through Peel, and our mutual friend Kelly Frost. Peel's Elevated and Emerging Leaders, Pittsburgh's, I'm sorry. I forget the name all the time. I just say Peel. But I was really happy to see you at that event because I think that is a perfect match for you. So how did you discover Peel? How did you find it? Because it's not something that really goes very far out of Pittsburgh.
No. So like I said, post-COVID, I was having those health issues, and then I had surgery. So I dropped out of pretty much all the anything that was optional, I dropped out of because I just had to pull back and heal, right?
Sure.
So the beginning of this year, I decided it's time to go back. It's time to dive back in. And I was looking at kind of the local opportunities, and nothing excited me.
Yeah.
I felt like I needed something new. I needed something different.
Sure.
And my dear friend, Dion Malish, who I know was also a guest on your show, I saw her posting on Facebook about being at the Peel events. And I thought, that's a group of people that I need to be involved with.
Right.
Some people I knew, a lot of people I don't know. And I thought that's where I need to be.
Yeah.
So I went to, my very first event was one of their weekend workshops. It was a Saturday workshop. It was an all-day event. And they were talking about women's health. And I thought, well, this is perfect. I fit right into this category. I know a lot about this category.
We were sponsored, and they wouldn't let me go.
No, you would not have been there.
That's what they said. No. You can sponsor it,
well,
but no, you cannot go.
And the wonderful thing is, Jamie, I knew two women in the room. And it was a panel discussion, and it was a very intimate conversation about women's health. We talked about things in a group of women that I have never talked about in a group of women ever before. But everybody was so comfortable and so candid, and just, I left there going,
it's a beautiful thing.
This is pretty awesome. There was no judgment. There was none of that catty, small town kind of stuff you get when you're, super local.
Sure.
So I thought, well, these are my people. And I made a point of talking to Kelly and getting to know Kelly, and I joined, and that was actually my first luncheon that I saw you at. So I'm a very new baby in that organization, but I'm digging it.
Yeah, you're going to love it. And that you'll see that I'm often the only guy at the ladies' luncheons. And whenever Kelly invites me, I go.
Token male.
But and I have Diane, Nick's mom, and two of our young engineers. That's the reason I joined in the beginning, was to get them networking outside of the industry.
Yeah.
Right. I wanted them to get that piece, especially the younger ones. Not young. They're 30, so they're young to me. But so that's how that whole thing started. And then we started to do some sponsorships, and then Kelly asked me to speak at one of the men's luncheons, and then we just really kind of connected and got going from there.
Yeah.
We're doing the podcast as part of Peel. We pulled out a couple of slots per month that we're going to devote to Peel. Kelly's going to be the co-host.
Great. Yeah.
She would have been here today because you would have been perfect for it, but she had another commitment and couldn't make it. But so she's going to co-host those particular segments. And I think with your background and everything, some of the things that we've discussed so far today, you bring a lot to the table as well. That's a two-way street there. That's not just you pulling things from there. You have a lot to offer.
Thank you.
They'll receive it well. They will receive it well.
I hope so.
Yeah, I think so. I know so. I mean, I think you are you're kind of a rock star and don't know it. You've always been a little too humble.
Yeah, I don't even know why that is, because people will ask me about my accomplishments and I'm like, oh, I don't know, I've done some things, and then just now you're like, tell me about this and this and this, and
we haven't even touched on all of it.
Well, no, but I don't really do that so much. I never brag on myself. I probably should do it, but I don't.
If you and you can, and I've learned this, and a lot of people, when you talk about that small town piece, they don't get it. But when you go into the city, when you go into organizations like Peel, and you promote yourself, it's not, you can promote yourself with humility and gratitude. It is a thing, right? It's not, you're not bragging, but when you're an entrepreneur, when you're self-employed, like you said, and you're looking to invest and do these things and grow your business into a vision, if you don't promote yourself, who's going to?
I know. This is what I'm trying to learn. This is what I'm trying to learn.
Right. So it's really, it's branding even more than it's self-promotion. Right.
Yeah. Well, and branding the salon was great. That's super easy. That's super easy but branding me, which is a whole nother thing I'm trying to move into, branding myself, I get a little bashful.
Well, it's a different thing. It's totally different. Now, because you created all of the visual and everything around Chaney's Natural,
Absolutely.
right? That was, you did that yourself. And it's really cool. It's very creative. It's a very distinctive brand. Right? I mean, you can see it. I see that. I know that's you, right?
Yeah.
Because it reflects you so well. I mean, I knew you did that. You didn't have somebody to do it. One of the things that, as far as the self-promotion and branding piece, who knows you better than you?
Right.
You can pay somebody, you can have the most talented professional marketer out there, but I've never walked around in your skin, right? So I don't know what it's like to be Tanya Chaney. And just vice versa.
Yeah.
So nobody can do you better than you.
Right.
Yeah. So don't ever shy away from that.
Yeah.
Especially when you have things to talk about like you do. I mean, you've got a list. And they said, we won't get into all the nonprofit stuff and everything that you've done, even around economic development and things like that. I've seen you in rooms where I was concerned about you because we're friends and I care about you. And what I mean by that is, did she bite off more than she can chew in this one? Is this like, I mean, where's this experience come from? Knowing you the way I do, but yet you kill it every time. Because I think, when you think about, you've been on the board of the YMCA down in the Mon Valley for a while. There's some serious personalities on that board.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Not getting into detail because most people wouldn't understand it anyway, but I know them all, and there's a reason I never sat on that board. There's some serious personalities on that board. But you hold your own. You more than hold your own.
Yeah.
And that's just one example.
Yeah. And I love that board,
That is such a tremendous organization. And if anybody out there is listening and wants to take a look at the Mon Valley YMCA in Carroll Township, PA, Monongahela, I guess it would be a Monongahela address. But it's a wonderful organization.
Absolutely.
It really is. I grew up there. I grew up in up there at the pool back before the building was even built, when that was the outdoor basketball courts.
That's right. Yeah.
So I'm dating myself again.
And they're a great asset to the community, which is why I love being a part of them. They're not just a gym. They have a pool. They have an entire swim team, a community swim team, which my son participates on. But the childcare and their entire childcare piece is huge for the Valley. It supports a lot of families, both regular and low income families. There's so much programming that happens there. Yeah. And my Max came through the preschool program, which is how I got involved up there.
Is that right? Well, whenever Terry's son was deployed, his second deployment, Jace went to preschool because they came back and stayed with us for that almost a year he was away. And Jace went to preschool there. And it was tremendous. Yeah. It was tremendous.
Great teachers. Yeah. I've met some of my best friends there. Yeah. Right. Yeah, that's just keep those connections.
Well, and see, that's another aspect of it. If networking is done right, you don't have contacts, you have friends.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's like anybody can walk into a room and hand out business cards, collect business cards, and make connections. Okay, but if you have the ability, the courage, okay, and the commitment to follow up and turn those business cards into friends, that's a successful networker, and you are that.
Oh, thank you.
Right, you are. I mean, think about it. It's definitely a skill, you know, and it's something that is not taught in any university or college anywhere. It's just not.
Right.
You know, so what is? I'm going to ask you about something specific.
Okay.
The Monongahela
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people won't know because we have a lot of viewers and followers that aren't from the Valley. The Monongahela Aquatorium it's exactly that. It's an auditorium on the water.
Absolutely.
Right? It was built into a hillside on the riverbank. It seats probably almost 5,000 people, right?
37 in the bleachers, 3,700 in the bleachers.
3,700 in the bleachers, and it's got a stage that goes out literally as like a pier goes out into the river, and it's a very cool entertainment venue, very unique. There's not much like it. There's probably a few other ones, but on the Monongahela River down in Monongahela, and they do a summer concert series among other things. And it's been around for a while. It's not affiliated with the city, right? It's a
Correct.
standalone
It's a separate
nonprofit
organization. Yep. Nonprofit.
And the mutual friend of ours, Claudia Williams, ran it for years, and I was always a supporter of it. And then I find out from you that you now took that over.
I did.
Like you had 4 minutes a week of spare time. You decided to fill that.
3.5 of it is now the Aquatorium.
Yeah. So how did that? Tell me about it. How did that all happen?
So the Aquatorium Innovations is the nonprofit that basically is the property manager to the Monongahela Aquatorium, right? Because that's owned by the city. Claudia and another friend, Terry, and there is an entire board behind it.
Right.
They started this organization in 2012 and decided to do summer concerts, which I got involved probably, I want to say 2017 or 18.
Okay.
Because Claudia said, I need a volunteer and you'll help me. And I said, okay. So I showed up and I did the volunteering, and year after year, I learned a lot of the different jobs. And then one year she said, you'll work in the booth with me. And I said, okay, but I like to do that job. And she said, but you'll do this job.
It's
and
very funny because that's volunteering for Claudia.
Yeah,
she tells you
voluntold.
Yes,
right.
Yes.
So I got voluntold that I would
there.
work in the booth, and it was fun. I love volunteering there because it's fun, it's social, it's networking, right? You're talking to people. It's a good environment. There's live music. It's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun work.
Sure.
And I used to like to sell the 50-50 tickets because it's all that exercise, running up and down the steps. And then I got stuck in the booth. But so anyway, I'm in the booth with Claudia, and then she subtly drops this hint that I need to know these things. And I said, but why do I need to know these things? And she just gave me a look. And I kind of knew that things were starting to transition because she had been talking about retirement. And the time came when she was going to retire. And she said, I think you'll do just fine with this. And she basically passed the torch. I think you'll be fine. And I said, but I don't know the things. And she said, I do, just ask. And so the board is still with me, of course, and they support me. And my buddy, John Vaccaro, what a champ. He's
John's
a rock
great.
star.
John's
I mean,
great. Yeah,
he's talked me off some ledges. Last year was my first year running the concerts. And John's been there since, I think, the beginning. I don't even know.
I
but
think so, yeah.
He was a rock star. He's like, you got this. It's fine. You totally got this.
Yeah.
And just enlisting the volunteers, old volunteers that had been there, and then enlisting some new volunteers. And it's like a party every Saturday. Like I show up there at 5 o'clock, the gates open at 6, and we just have a blast. But what we actually do, the purpose, is we do the concert series. So we pull in national talent and local talent, and there's
some great shows there.
Put on a full production show, full stage, full lights, professional sound company. They do the whole thing. And what do I know about any of that? Nothing. I know nothing.
Right.
So I really rely on the professionals. The stage guy, the sound guy. I look to them and go, what are we supposed to do? And then, they know the answers. So I'm just kind of the girl up top that sells the beer and does all the organization behind the scenes.
But that's cool stuff. And that's
so
leadership.
Cool.
That's leadership is knowing who to hand what. Okay, and how to support that. Let them go. You're a professional. This is your thing. Go do it.
I'm a
Anything
huge
from me,
fan.
I'm here.
Huge fan of delegation.
Oh yeah, and being able to, we all have that need as human beings when we have in that role something like that. We want to micromanage. We want to control it. right? So to fight that urge and to trust someone to go do their thing that they're really good at, that's leadership in a nutshell.
Well,
right
and
there.
that's what owning a salon has taught me, right? I'm a
There you
massage
go.
therapist. Do
Right.
I know anything about hair or nails or any of that? No. You don't want me coloring your hair. You don't want me doing your nails. Like, that's not my thing. I hire people that are trained and licensed. They know
Right.
what they're doing. And when my staff comes to me and says, we need this, I go, for what? And then they explain it and I go, oh, okay, that makes sense. And then
Yeah.
they kind of run their portion. Everybody kind of runs their portion of the
Does
show.
your team, not only the stylist, but you have other massage therapists.
Oh,
Do
yeah.
they bring their own clientele to the?
Well, I do the general marketing
Okay.
for the entire business. And of course they bring in their friends and their
Sure.
family.
Yeah.
They all have their own little following.
Yeah, right.
But
right.
yeah, the general marketing kind of covers all of that.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Now, back to the Aquatorium for a second. And well, you know me well enough to know you can keep up. I bounce around a little bit. But does Aquatorium Innovations, do they do the 4th of July or is that the city?
So that's the chamber.
That's the chamber.
The Chamber of
Okay.
Commerce does the 4th of July.
Okay.
The entire show.
Because that's about as American as you can get.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Music, fireworks, food trucks.
All the
Yeah.
boats on the river.
The boats on
and,
the river.
that's small town America
Yeah.
at its best.
Well, and that's why I love the concert so much, because we have this amazing venue and it's, like I said, 3,700 people fit in the bleachers.
Sure.
Stadium seating. But people bring camping chairs and they fill out the whole bottom concrete deck. People dance down there. We put the stage down on the water.
And I think
down
that
there.
where I get that number of 5,000 is somebody told me that for a
With
concert
chairs.
with
Yeah.
chairs and
With
everything,
chairs.
there's 5,000.
Absolutely. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
So it's fun. The boats pull up and they'll piggyback and you might have 5 boats out. When I get there, when I go over on Friday night to do whatever I need to do in the booth to get ready for Saturday, and there are already boats tied up for Saturday's
is very
concert,
cool.
I'm like, it's gonna be a good show.
There you
yes.
go. There you go.
So it's awesome. The boats tie up. We've got the L dock. We've got the concrete platform. The boats tie up. Everybody has a good time. Hardly ever any trouble down there. It's just amazing. Great support from the police department. They do walkthroughs for us. We love having them there when they're not busy doing official police duties.
It's a great little city. Always
It's
fun.
so much fun.
Yeah.
It really is fun.
That is what living in a small town is all about.
Well, and you know everybody.
You know everybody, and there's, but even though not everybody's up in your business like a lot of other little towns. You don't, and we have some towns that are close to Monongahela that are like that. People get too
Overly
into it.
involved, yeah.
But Monongahela has always, even when the other towns around it, the other communities just crashed and burned, Monongahela never really did.
Yeah.
It has stayed. Maybe it didn't thrive at one point like Charleroi did, for example, but it hasn't died.
Yeah.
It's been right there. It's been consistent and steady.
Yeah.
No empty storefronts in town. Just always really, really cool stuff. And those types of community events, I think, are what hold a city like that or a small town together.
Yeah. So between the Aquatorium events and then the Chamber has some events, and there's a Main Street program that Terry Netchai runs.
And Terry does a great job with that.
There was just a small event on Saturday, the World of Chocolate event. But all of these small events are what tie our community together. And I think, somebody asked me about the success of Monongahela before. And my thought is that it only has one Main Street.
Big deal.
So let's
deal.
talk about
The other
that, right?
communities-
All have 2.
Right.
An in and an out, right? Monessen has 2,
Right.
Denora, Charleroi. Everybody
Absolutely.
has Rush Draver, Bell Vernon.
Yeah.
There's nothing centralized. Monongahela, you got one Main Street.
Everything's right there.
Everything is, you have to be so concentrated. And I think because it's concentrated, a lot of the energy, the effort, we know where to put it. We don't have to
Right.
figure out where we're going to work out. We can
Very
just
true.
keep Main Street nice.
Very true.
And
But it's still an effort. It's still a heavy lift.
oh yeah,
To get people to really buy in.
yeah.
You have a storefront, right?
Yes.
Not everybody looks at that the same way. When I was at the chamber and we got the grant money from the local sheriff of Washington County. We were blessed in that, but I was always stunned at how it was not as widely received. When we first got those grants and we were offering that, I literally thought every single business owner in town in the valley would jump into that.
Right.
Now I know Terry's had some success with that, and I think Terry's approach is better. The way he approaches it is much, it's more focused. Instead of just being a broad brush, come and get some money and throw some paint and do these things. And I think that's what happened. It wasn't as clearly defined. And Terry's dug in and focused it, into the, but, in Monongahela is a perfect place for a parade, right? We all love parades, I mean, it's, I've walked in more than one parade there, Halloween parade in particular.
Oh, the Halloween parade, yeah.
So it's all a big deal.
There.
I mean, that is so cool. And the reason I'm bringing that up is that you are a big, big part of that. You're right there, and you have been for a while.
I've been on Main Street for 13 years.
Yeah. So you've really, again, jumped in. I don't know how you have the energy to do all this. I really don't.
I don't know. Hyperthyroidism helps. The energy just keeps coming.
Yeah, well, that's an okay thing.
Yeah.
So, where do you go from here? What's next steps for Tanya? Where are you heading?
Retirement.
Okay.
Well, no, there's still some steps before that. So I'm working on, like I said, building the real estate profile. I have to be able to make enough money doing my real estate to retire from my day job. Not that I have immediate plans to do that, but I'm going to continue to develop my real estate portfolio.
Okay.
I did mention to you the other day on the phone, I'm kind of taking a quiet pivot and branding myself and creating a platform on Facebook and Instagram, website, just to start talking about myself, which is, again, I have so much trouble doing it.
Yeah.
But I was talking with a guy I met in Fargo. He's out of Chicago, and he's a design thinker. His name is Tony, and he suggested that I get into, he was learning about me and all the things I did. He said, "You're like a curator." I said, "I don't really know what you mean." He said, "You know a lot of things about a lot of things, and if you just kind of brought it all together and just created a place where you could talk about the things you know." And I said, okay. And he said, "What about lifestyle curation?" And I was like, "Oh, that sounds so cool. I want to do that." And he goes, "But you are doing it. You just have to harness it and put it together in a nice little package." So I'm trying to create that little package now. Just starting that out.
I saw that, and I think that's very cool. I mean, I really do, because again, that's what led to what we're doing right now. Is we started with a blog and in this and a book and all those things, and not telling anybody how to live their life, not telling anybody what to do if you have this, if that, but just here's what happened to me. Here's what I know. Did. This is what I've learned from that experience. I think that's a wonderful thing, and I think that people respond to that.
Yeah, I've had a good response so far. For as quiet as a pivot as it's been, and it's kind of been real subtle. Okay. I'm getting a nice response from it.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. I think that's a great niche for you. And it ties into everything, and it's one of those low impact things. Talking about retirement. So it's like, what I do for a living is not difficult by any stretch. I'm not out digging a ditch, swinging a hammer, or any of those things. I could probably do my day job till I'm 80. It's stressful, but it's not tiring. But when you think about things, real estate, podcasting, anything like that, writing, that's something you can do into old age.
From anywhere.
From anywhere.
Literally.
And the freedom that you can get from that.
Yeah.
Literally, you have a laptop, that's all you need. Right?
Even a phone nowadays. You don't even need a laptop. You can just
laptop.
Talk to your phone and it'll dictate it out for you.
Yeah. So that's really cool. That's a great plan. And I think you're perfect for it.
Thank you.
You really are.
Yeah. Thank you.
So what would you like our 4 viewers' takeaway to be from your conversation? What do you want people to know about Tanya and all of these things that you're doing from your heart? What's?
Oh gosh, all 4 viewers, listeners.
One's my mom, and she's in California. She's still asleep. Don't worry.
Hi,
about
Mom. What to take home? Who I am is everything about like health and wellness, right? I always advocate for taking care of yourself, live the best life you can, advocate for your own health. If you're not happy with something, change it. You can make those changes in small steps.
Yep.
And just the live, love, right? So I do live, love, learn. I think anything that you're doing that inspires you and keeps you active and moving forward That's all you can ask for. Just keep moving forward.
There you go. So how will people find your new piece on Facebook or social media? How do we find you?
Yeah, so if you look up Tanya Chaney, the Lifestyle Curator, that's my new side hustle, I suppose we'll call that.
Okay.
The salon is chaney'snatural.com, always has been. Great website and Facebook for that. The Lifestyle Curator is Facebook, Instagram, and the website is tanyachaney.com.
Okay.
And then I'm going to throw out, just because I have to, the monongahelaquatorium.com.
No, that's good. I want you to do that.
Monongahelaquatorium on Facebook, monongahelaquatorium.com for all the listings of the concerts. Everything's already up. The Witch Fest, Food Truck Festival. We've got the whole season set up.
Witch Fest is cool. We didn't even get into all that.
We didn't even get into Witch Fest, but it's very cool.
It is very, very cool. Well, listen, my friend, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it. It's great to see you and great to catch up, and good luck. And
Thank you.
Listen, if you've always known I'm here for you. If there's anything you need, if I can help, just let me know.
Will do.
All right, take care.
Thanks, you too.